You're tuning in to Stellar Cycles, hosted by Alina Souza
and Eva Brown. Join us weekly as we delve into the science, spirituality, and cultural significance of our feminine cycles.
Get ready to align with your natural rhythms, take charge of your patterns, and embrace a holistic approach to feminine wellness. Are all systems go?
All systems are a go.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Stellar Cycles podcast. Today our topic is presenting your best self. The goal for this podcast episode is to set up our listeners to get the most out of our information to come later by laying down a strong personal foundation. Eva, what kind of current updates do we have for our listeners?
First things we're doing are gathering video equipment so we can start publishing YouTubes and quick IG reels and TikToks for you guys.
And networking. Up a studio,
I'm
really
excited
vibey Stellar Cycles studio. That'll be fun.
Get a great neon sign in here.
And also we're just kind of trying to get out there and network with people, get the word out about the podcast. We were at acupuncture today and they ask you all the stuff about your health. And I was like, I'm starting a podcast with my friend. And they were like, oh, let us know. Cause our clients, they are really interested in this information. So that's a form of networking that we did today.
Feminine wellness is the wave of the future. We need to know these things.
Yes.
So it was fun going to different events. This weekend, we're going to go to an event with my friend at Kendra Scott, talk about our podcast there. Just spread the good word to our female counterparts.
And also, we're developing a landing page. So just a quick website page that lets you know what's happening at the moment. And also later on, a little link where people can sign on to be our guests and to join the conversation with us, talk about, their own journey with feminine wellness. It's going to be really fun. Oh, and, as we build this podcast, we need your help. We need you guys to DM us anything that interests you regarding this topic, things that you've wanted to always know more about, things that maybe you need clarification on. We have just a wealth of information. We just need a way to organize it for you all. Let's get into our topic, presenting the best self. Eva, what does it mean for you to show up in life as your best self? Like, what is that? Like, let's say someone's never heard about the best self.
Showing up as your best self really is you taking responsibility to do the work on yourself. First, I always say internally, and secondary appearance, and knowing that the effort you put into yourself is what's going to attract the type of life that you want and how people treat you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So much has to do with like how you present to the world, because that's how you emit the frequency of how you want people to treat you. You truly treat yourself the best first, and then that lays out the example for everyone else. That's just not to say that like everyone should just be treating you great and that's what this is all about. It's just about like, if you want good things in your life, you really have to give those good things first before you can ever expect them to show up for you.
Yes. And this is a concept that we always like to talk about how like we really treat ourselves like God, and having that essence of course, putting God first or the universe, source, in whatever you believe in, but also recognizing that is within you. So putting yourself first and caring for who you are will give you better energy. Having boundaries in your life to make sure that you're treated in a certain way will give you better energy to take on life's problems or to help your friends and be a better coworker, be a better partner to your spouse, and especially during those hard times. Because if you're not putting into your best self, when those hard times come, your monster self will come out.
Exactly. Tell me about when you first, I guess, learned about this concept, when you first realized that, like the me that I am right now, I don't have to be this person. There is like a better version of me out there that I can work towards. Like, when did this concept come into play for you?
I mean, definitely when we talked about on the first episode, my dad ingrained a lot of things into me. So he would say things like, always put your best self forward, like your best foot forward. Or if you do something, do it right the first time because it always saves you time later. So that, of course, all helped me. And through high school and college, especially when I was all on my own, I was reading books, personal development books, because I knew that was the way to give me the knowledge to get out of the place that I was at. And since then, I think it always just stacks on top of each other. So sometimes it seems so big and far away and you just don't even know what this concept is. But if you just take those slow and steady steps over the years, you look back and you're like, wow, I am literally my best self. It took 5 years to build, but like now this person, you could not destroy me even if you tried. Please, Lord, no, don't let anyone try.
Amen. But they will not prosper.
Exactly. What about for you?
For me, I can really pinpoint this back to when I was first starting out my ultrasound program at Loma Linda University, and that the very first quarter, it was a summer quarter. We didn't do anything ultrasound related yet. We weren't learning anything about that. We were doing like in-depth research and kind of like personal essays, learning a lot about diversity and like the different ethnic and cultural backgrounds of like people we'd be dealing with in healthcare. And that was kind of the time that I actually learned about other religions. During that summer period, they actually had us write out an ideal self. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, who's the ideal self? What are they doing? How are they living? And that moment like really actually caused me to think about like, okay, how do I structure my life in such a way that gets me to this vision that I see for my life, and that I think that really helped us like stay on track throughout our program and just keep that goal in mind. And that computer with all of those papers and stuff died, and I was not able to retrieve any of the information. So I would be so interested to read now and see like what my vision was, because it totally doesn't match what I'm living now and what I want now. But it's a work in progress. You're always like working on that perfect self and kind of like, okay, like what is my dream life? What do I want to be doing? How do I want to feel?
Yeah, you are working on every phase, and sometimes it changes completely. I mean, just the fact that you moved from Spokane. I always say it right the first time and then question
Don't question it.
And now you're here. So, of course, everything changed. You're not on a farm anymore. You're in the city.
I miss the farm, though. Yeah.
I love that your take on this is so structured. And mine is very, like, idealistic. It's very floaty. I think our listeners need both.
Yeah, I love it. So, yeah, I mean, we've already kind of touched on why this matters, but let's touch a little more on why this best self idea matters in the scope of what we're going to be talking about, the menstrual wellness, womb health. And I think the root of it, you guys, is that I think women have been conditioned for centuries to put themselves last.
Yes.
And it contributes to so many health problems, mental problems, generational family problems when like a woman is not allowed to care for herself first, when she's expected to give the very last of herself to everyone, because that's just what a mom is expected to do. That's what a woman is expected to do. So I think that not to like argue that, we are here to serve other people, but when we attend to our highest self and we're aligning with her, then we're so much better able to take care of everyone else on this planet.
I think it's having the intention that you're setting to, of course, we're here to serve, like you said, but how we serve is really what matters. And if we serve from an empty cup, what are we serving to people? It's not love. It's because that's not what what God intends for us is to suffer silently. God wants us to really pour into ourselves. And then with us being so lit up and fired up about life, it naturally extends to other people. Like when I'm having a great day and we hang out, you're having a great day and vice versa. And the only reason why we're like that is because we spend 2 hours ahead of time conditioning our mind, pouring into ourselves, whether if it's working out, going to the sauna, meditating, reading, cooking good food for ourselves, and then we're ready to give our best selves to the world. Like, that's what we need everyone to do. Exactly. So how do people do that? Like, where would they start?
I think a lot of people kind of have this question in their mind, like, okay, but what is the difference between thinking of what you want to be and embodying it and like living that out versus being fake? Like, okay, what is the difference? What if someone's just being fake? I think that when you're being fake, you're being inauthentic. When you're aligning with your highest self, you're aligning with your authenticity, no matter how that looks to other people. Of course, as long as you're not harming or hurting others with your authenticity, then I don't think that's being fake at all, There's been numerous times where I felt like people were being nice to me, but not kind to me. Does that make sense? I think you can be nice all day, but being kind sometimes looks like not being nice. Sometimes being kind means
doing what's hard.
Doing what's hard, saying something that someone might be resistant to hearing, but they need it for their growth. And being kind can also mean not being defensive when someone is coming to you with something that they think that you need for your growth. Yeah, how would you say is like the difference between being fake versus picking that ideal in your mind and acting that out?
So I agree with what you said, because also back in high school, I remember I think that's where we all learn this term fake. I'm sure it's the same for all of us in high school. And for me, even in high school, I remember saying that I don't really believe people necessarily are fake. I think people are trying on different versions of themselves, or fake to me is like if you're lying, you know? But at the end of the day, if someone wants to say they're one way, then I truly believe that they want to be that way. And maybe their actions don't align yet. So I think you always want to align your actions with what you say, your intentions. And the best medicine for this is really journaling. Knowing yourself, writing down what your intentions are for that day, what your intentions are for the future, what you want for yourself, what you're creating. And when you start writing these things down, you naturally, your actions will align with those things.
Because your brain is focusing on them
so
always.
even if it looks so different, even if you live a life where you're around a lot of girls that might be mean to you and you don't want that to be your future, and you're kind of wondering like, why do like some of these people make backhanded comments or this and that? Well, you can get out of that life by just simply being really intentional, writing in the morning, like, I want great friendships. My friendships are super nice to me. I have a lot of love to give. And because of that, love comes back to me. And what will happen is God will start to put in the right people in your life, take out the wrong people. And then next month, you have a completely different version of you. You've just leveled up. And all you had to do is write down 5 minutes a day,
Girl,
what you want.
Journaling like that in the present tense as your future self is so important, because guess what? You're already aligning with my higher self. She has great friends. She has a loving, supporting community.
Yes.
She, this, that, and the other.
In the quantum world, they say there's thousands of multiple realities. And at any moment, you can tune into this. And this, we'll talk about all these things later. You can always Google them too, but you can tap into any timeline and create that for yourself that same day.
I think the takeaway from what you and I both just said is that being fake is more of like a verbal thing. It's hard to maintain, because you're not being consistent. You're not being true to yourself, while embodying that higher version is more proved through actions, because that person is aligning their actions. You can see it through their actions. You're not dependent on their words. You just see how they live their life.
Yeah. So just finding yourself, figuring out who's the authentic version of yourself. It doesn't mean like you can be whatever version of yourself you want. You can be a great girl who twerks, do whatever fun stuff. Just figure out what you love to do and authentically be that and own it. Like don't have any shame for it.
So the next thing, identity being the cornerstone of change. What we mean by that is you cannot see change in your life until there's a change that occurs in your identity. People identify with so much in their life. They identify with the suffering. They identify with the victimhood. They identify with a disease. They identify with what their family did to them.
Don't label things you don't want.
And what kind of person is going to want to change something that they identify with that has been their life identity?
Yeah, it's like their child teddy bear.
Right. So what's a way that someone can have their identity become the cornerstone of their change?
I think it's first being aware that you have the identity. So if you see yourself constantly saying things like,
pay attention to the way you speak about yourself.
As a joke, even I would get rid of that right away. Or like, money always comes and goes, or like, I can't keep enough money in my pocket, or
I'm always broke.
Yeah. Or like, people don't like me, or all my friends always have drama. Like those are kind of identifiers. And once you realize those things are happening, you write it down, and then you, in that same sentence, you recreate a different future. Because once we start, look for the things you complain about, because those complaints are you literally casting spells of the life you're creating for yourself. And the only way to stop it is to be aware, and then say some other things. The moment you start saying other things, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks so much about this, like the science of belief and how our words and what we believe, it literally has chemical reactions in our body. And that those chemical reactions turn out a frequency that put our reticular activating system on like fire for the things we're saying. So it literally is searching. So you could be having a great conversation with your friend, but if you're constantly thinking like, oh, all my friends have drama, well, guess what? You're going to pick up from a story she says that maybe she is talking about the story from a perspective of like greatness on some level, but you'll see drama and you'll pick out that one thing, and then boom,
That's what you focus
you're creating more of that. And
what you focus on multiplies. Here's a little note that I made in my phone. I actually posted it on Instagram the other day. It was from Brene Brown. And
watch
it
our
was
Netflix,
so good.
guys.
And it's about like, seeking out the things that you're looking for in the world, kind of like reassurance that you're a bad person, that people don't like you. So here it goes. Here's the quote. Don't walk through the world looking for evidence that you don't belong, because you will always find it. Don't walk through the world looking for evidence that you're not enough, because you will always find it. Our worth and our belonging are not negotiated with other people. We carry those inside our hearts. You can negotiate contracts, you can negotiate topics, but don't negotiate who you are, because while you may fit in for them, you no longer belong to yourself.
Ooh, chills. Oh, everything.
And it just made me think about the amount of times and the amount of level of disappointment that I've experienced trying to fit myself into someone else's world for them. Were they ever happy with that?
Yeah, and definitely that's not your best self. That's your replicated fake
my
self
pandering
trying
self.
to fit into pandering self. Nope, no room for that.
So going back to the identity thing, like figure out what kind of identity does your higher self have? Does she have the identity of nothing ever works out for me? I can't get this job. My friends are always doing something without me. Or does she have the identity of I draw people in with my magnetism, and people want to be a part of my life, and I'm excited to be a part of other people's lives. Speaking about your life, and again, writing it down and focusing on it multiplies it.
Yes, like things are happening for me, not against me. Everything's always working in your favor. And when you have those types of mantras in your mind by default, that's literally what happens. Because I think it's important to always know that God, the universe, wants the desires that are in our heart, like they want that for you too.
Those are their desires.
Yes, it's literally the same. So the moment that we start to, the only thing that holds us back from our desires is us holding on to these poor belief systems and identities
that we usually take from other people.
Yeah. So the best thing to do for yourself is just start letting that shit go.
Yeah. So again, if you really want to see the change that, we all have things in our lives that we know that we need to and want to desperately change. But until like you change that aspect of your identity that identifies with that problem, you're not going to see that change.
Mindset, like work on, I think, mindset. Even in this right now in this show, Alina and I talk about like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Brene Brown. These are two great people to type into YouTube and really start pouring in.
It's just gold.
Yeah, like
straight up
gold. Like this is the type of content, like think about the junky content that we watch that it compares us, or like sometimes we watch a lot of drama filled shows and then that's putting drama into, Abraham Hicks would say, your vortex. And once it's there, you're picking that up. But if you start to curate your content that goes into your mind and be more picky and selective, you're going to have higher value everything in your life.
So like instead of, if you see something, I'm not saying like stay off of social media because that's, everyone knows that's impossible.
My social media is curated. Yours is too. Like it's very healthy for my mind.
If you see something that you don't like, do whatever you need to do to click on it so that it never shows up on your feed again, and star the things that you like, the things that make you feel good about yourself, the things that inspire you, the things that drive you.
Like I always say, we create our life, the future, our day, everything we want. And it starts with being picky about who you spend time with. If they're not promoting you and like lifting you up,
if they're leaving
you should really think about hanging out with them anymore, because at the end of the day, as this quote says, you're naturally worthy, as Brene Brown's saying. And with that, you're worthy to always feel good. And that just means you need to find people for you. And when you align and you're like shameless about who you you are, the right people will come to you and they're going to ignite you even more. And yeah, your whole life will just be up and up. Like, I don't have a bad day, you know?
Right. Everything in life is magnetic. If you're going to be a down, sad person, misery loves company. We all know it. And if you're going to be Eeyore, and if you're going to be, you know, a shining light, people are also going to be drawn to that because people are looking for connection.
Trying to get a tan. Give me that vitamin D.
Let's talk about why putting yourself first is not only an okay thing, it's a good thing.
I mean, it's a necessity.
Let's get into it because
like on the airplane, if the plane's going down, you put the mask on yourself before your child. You can't help your kid.
That's the best thing. And it goes back to that analogy of yours from earlier, from pouring out of an empty cup. We all know what that feels like.
We're going to give people droplets of ourselves. They're like, what is this?
Right. And then, you know, it's also worth noting that there are going to be people who make you feel guilty for putting yourself first.
Yes, my whole life I've dealt with this. But hey, choose yourself first.
I'm
shameless.
Syndrome.
My family will like, Eva, you never answer. Because I mean, everyone knows. My friends already know. I mean, people with me can be on a 3-day to a 31-day backlog on me returning a call or a text. And they know that if it's really important, like a life or death, I will always be there. I'll answer. You send me a text message, I'm there. But if it's just like a question or this or that,
filtering things now.
Filters. Love filters.
I think Ed Milet has like a thing set up on his phone where if he gets incoming text throughout the day, there's like an automated response and it's like, hey, I'm going to be responding to texts like from 6 to 8 p.m. tonight. I'm like, how can I get that set up? Because then, you know, people just need to know that you're going to get back to them at some point.
Yes, and that is true. And I love like, I'm ruthless, but I love when my friends challenge me. Like you'll say this. Matt also is always on me about texting people back right away because I get it. People do need a response. So I love that you said this because yes, I should set up an autoresponder because people just need to know, hey, you're there. You're going to get to it soon. Yeah. Or an assistant.
I think putting yourself first, it can definitely be taken the extreme way and, you know, narcissism, not considering anyone else, but we're talking about this under the scope of being, just pouring into yourself so that you can go out and be a light to others.
Because the difference is narcissists put themselves first, but they don't even put themselves first. Their love tank is so empty that they manipulate people to put them first.
And
that's how you can tell the difference, you know. But someone who is actually taking the time 2 hours a day to be with themselves and where they're not with anyone else, they're putting in the work to themselves. They're filling up their cup. They're taking responsibility for their happiness. They start the day at 100% happiness. They did that for themselves. So
no
now
matter what
everything else
in
is
their
just
day,
a bonus. Yeah.
No matter what happens. No matter what happens in their day, they're set. They're set on their values, on their ambitions.
Flighty, they know where they're going, where they're headed. Intentions, morals are all systems a go.
All systems are go. You know, you guys, we just want to leave you with some actionable examples for how you can start carving out your ideal self. You know, it's really fun. It's really just like dreaming. You can literally create your reality, you guys. It's not a lie.
Pisces season.
It's Pisces season. It's time to dream. It's time to like get into that watery, floaty vibe and be intuitive. I think we all need to stop listening to like outside voices a little bit because so many of my choices have been formed by what other people think I should do. And then when those things don't work out, where are they?
Right. And I mean, I always say like, we don't even need to ask advice from people sometimes. Like, you know, I was just saying this the other day to my girlfriend, problems go up and great things go down. So it's like good news. I'll tell to anyone, but anything that's bad, they have to be higher than me. So God or someone I pay, you know, like a counselor or something, a coach,
a problem solver.
And I was like, there's no need ever for any of your problems to go downwards. Your solution is not going to be effective.
That's a really good analogy. So the first thing that you can do is create your alter ego, create a character and pretend that that's you. Make a vision board, journal out affirmations that this character is constantly thinking about, and try on that reality for a little bit. See how it feels to you. If anything feels, you know, a little out of place, you can shift, you can adjust that. Like I said, vision boards are a really great option for me. I have one as a screensaver on my phone. I'm always looking at what I want to look at and literally, you guys, those things just like pop up into my reality. They come
without
in so
even
easy.
thinking about it. You're just like, all of a sudden I look down on these boards or what I wrote, and I'm like, oh, cool, I have that now. I didn't even realize that it was checked off.
Another thing that they can do
is put in extra effort into your appearance.
Right. We've talked a lot about the inside. So like, let's talk about
first.
I feel like we've kind of lost this art. Presenting yourself well to the world. I see people walking around. I'm one of them.
Yeah, same.
Sweats, slippers.
I mean, time, place for everything.
But haven't you noticed the difference in the vibe that you get when you are put together? You're presenting yourself in the best way. You've taken the time to shower. You've taken the time to do your hair. You're, even just a little pinch of makeup works wonders.
I literally don't feel confident when I have oily hair. Like if I'm on day 4 and it's like an updo, like today, it's just not my best. But you
have a good head shape for it. So when you do slick your head back, it looks snatched, very like red carpet.
But, it's just that dirty feeling. But every girl I know relates because we all have to have that dirty feeling at least once a week. That's the hair updo day.
The enough is enough day.
Yes. But any other days when I'm feeling confident, like, hey, to our follicular phase, that's my favorite one. And my hair is looking great. I'm confident in how to speak and how I'm dressed. What kind of tips could we give people for that?
Do a little thing for yourself in the morning, a little routine-y thing, whether that's like putting on a little eye patches, ice rolling your face, like that will already make you feel somewhat more snatched than like rolling out of the bed, picking up your phone, shining that blue light in your face first thing. You guys know how it goes. Just treat yourself well and everything else will just kind of start treating you well too.
Treat yourself like a queen and you'll be a queen. Like all of us can be queens.
Another actionable thing that I think our listeners can work on is emotions, because while we think that we're we think we're a victim to our emotions and they just come and go, the thing is, you guys, you can choose to feel how you want to feel. So think about your higher self. What kind of emotions is she used to feeling on a regular basis? Is it triumph, faith, security, joy, trust? Kind of start battling the emotions that you're used to feeling, that you familiarized yourself with, mistrust, insecurity, despair, disappointment. Again, it's alchemy. You can literally change anything to something else.
So that's my favorite part of the podcast, because I think that is the most important thing really for people, is to learn how to alchemize and transcend their emotions. Now, of course, yes. And then we also are respecting emotions. Be aware of your emotions. Check in with your body. That's just good feminine energy hygiene, to check in with yourself daily. How are you feeling in the moment? How did you feel today? Bring those feelings up and you might recognize some, like maybe you were in despair or lonely or sad. Feel why. And then also find out, like, work through those emotions and then you can transcend them. Of course, we're not like blocking or avoiding these. We're feeling and moving to the next highest emotion. And once you stay locked in those high vibe feelings, you'll start to attract those circumstances that you want that would make you feel that way.
It feels so tumultuous with our cycles at every time of the month. We just feel different at certain points. So something that we're going to be working on for you guys is a way to kind of track your emotions throughout your cycle, so you can start seeing the patterns that are emerging. So you can start pinpointing, okay, like this is a good time for me to deal with this. This is not a good time for me to deal with this, or have an important conversation. We're so excited to show you guys like the studies behind this and just how it really, really works. And honestly, it's just such a great life hack, because guess what? You're not going to be tearfully fighting with your significant other or just breaking under the weight of the world, and then you're fine the next few days. So
you're gonna have a peaceful, like, this is your hormone hacks, like how to hack your life.
Right. And again, just to wrap that up with, every single day that you can, make higher choices for her that you feel great about. Choose for her. Choose with your higher future self in mind. And then eventually you're going to wake up one day and you're living that life.
Yes. We can't wait. We want to hear.
Yeah. So check out our Instagram. Share our graphic about the higher self. You can comment underneath. Let us know, when do you feel most aligned with your dream self? What are you doing? What are you wearing? How are you feeling? Again, emotions is such a big part of this, you guys.
We'd super appreciate it if you guys would like to throw us a rating, any sort of review, any sort of love that you'd like to give us. We are just open and would love to receive that from you guys. And of course, in any sort of reviews, we'd love to really know what you guys want to hear more about. And we've read all these books and we've taken all these courses and hired so many coaches. It's like, how can we help deliver that information to you guys for it to be the most effective? So please just let us know. We're open ear, and share us with your friends, your loved ones, whoever you think would connect with this. We want just all of you guys to be on and be involved in this community that we're building.
Right. And we're even carving out a Patreon for the future. There'll be more to talk about with that, but that'll be kind of like a membership-based platform where you can find all of the info, everything linked, all of the research, just everything you could possibly want, including more. We're going to talk about it more as we build it out.
Encyclopedia.
It's going to be crazy.
For women, for our feminine health,
yes.
Everything. I'm excited.
And
dating, all the good stuff. Ugh.
All right. This show is intended for inspiration and entertainment and is not meant to replace your physician's medical advice.
Music by Moon Blue.
Editing by Alina Salza.